Hi, I'm going to have another thought. This is actually some different thoughts that I had back in 2009, and I was just kind of looking over my notes and I was excited about it, reading over it again. But it's talking about how Adam was formed and Eve was built. God literally took Adam's flesh and blood and he built her. He didn't form her, he built her. And it was God that built her. And the church is like Eve to the second Adam. The church, Jesus Christ gave his flesh and blood, and even being pierced from his side, in order to receive his church, his bride, back into himself. And that's one thing that the church, not understanding the role of being formed and being built, we miss what's going on here. And we, the church, have been so busy trying to build a kingdom, to build here on earth, to build the church, till and that becomes the main thing. So it's the church building, it's not God building. And we're not understanding that we need to first be formed in Christ first, and then God does the building. But we get so busy trying to do all this stuff to build something here on earth. Ministry, or even building something for God out of a right heart, but we've got it backwards. God has to form us, and then he builds it. And also, I feel like that whenever Jesus Christ was talking about how the disciples, how they needed to drink his blood and eat his flesh, that controversial discussion that he had, where most of his disciples left him because they said, this is too hard of a teaching. They saw it as he was teaching cannibalism, but he wasn't. He was only referring to himself as second Adam, the one where out of his flesh and blood he forms his church. The bride comes forth. So he's calling us to become so one with him, partaking of the wholeness that his blood shed, won for us in the shedding of his blood, and then just even his flesh being broken, for us to begin to tear away and take away and allow our flesh to leave it, to get rid of it from our lives, living according to the flesh. We have to allow Jesus Christ to become our circumcision, where he has already stripped away the flesh and bringing forth the pure and good thing of being in him as the bride who is being formed in Christ Jesus. And to me, that is such an exciting picture of Jesus being the second Adam, where he is just, he's forming us, because we're to be transformed into his likeness. We're to be renewed in his mind. And it's all out of our being formed first, and then being formed in him, into his image. Then the church is built. But what has happened, because we've been so busy building and not allowing ourselves to be formed in Christ Jesus, we've ended up with a religious system of works. We've had an idea of God's kingdom, and it's skewed, and it's a warped view that's wrapped up in self-works and just the control of man. And but Jesus Christ is wanting us to understand the fullness of what he did as second Adam, dying on the cross and forming her out of his flesh and blood, and returning her to his side. as his bride. And it's just an exciting thing to think about. It's a deep place. It's a deep place of intimacy. It's a deep place of just being one with Jesus. And when we get into that place of just allowing ourselves to be formed in him, then, doing the kingdom is going to come naturally. It's just going to flow out of us because we've been formed. And then it'll be a pure ministry. It won't be one that's laced with thoughts and ideas of man. So anyway, I just want to encourage you with that. Again, get into intimacy. That's the place to be. That is so the place to be. So I just want to encourage you, bride. Just allow Jesus Christ to form you in him.